Konnichiwa. Welcome back to Library's channel. Today I'm going to talk about the character release schedule for the first half year of 2021 based on the Japan server, and I will also give you a summary of reviews on each of these characters, and it is possible that part of the order of release may be adjusted or changed by Crunchyroll, so it might be different to what we had on the Japan server. In every 3 months, we will have one video like this about the releasing order of new characters so you guys can plan ahead with your new summons. Here's my personal estimation of the releasing schedule of new characters based on my experience on Japan server, but I expect the global server may have these updates more frequently, so they will be able to catch up with the Japan server updates eventually. These dates are just an estimation and may not be very accurate. It's just something that you guys can use as a rough reference guide. Now let's take a look at the third row here. It is where you can get the characters from, or the memory shards of them if you want to wait and summon the characters afterwards. For example, June's memory shards will be available in Heart Stage 14. This stage should be unlocked around May after the update, and Link's memory shard will be available in the Arena Coins shop. These last 4 characters are only available in the Summer Festival Gacha, which means if you miss this Gacha, you will have to wait until the next Summer Festival. The last row here is my personal ratings of these characters based on a few things. First of all, obviously the arena or clan battle performances, then the level of difficulty for them to be unlocked if you miss them in the gacha. Another important criteria here is how long you will use this particular character before having them replaced by a new or better character. Now let's move on to the details of these characters. So the first one is June, a 3-star frontline tank. Her first skill is to heal one of the allies around her with the lowest HP, but only by a small amount. Second skill is to deal small physical damage and small amount of armor reduction on the enemy in front of her. EX skill is large boost of her own magical defense at the beginning of the battle. Her UB is a barrier on herself that absorbs physical and magical damage. As a tank, she has decent durability, healing skill, and armor reduction ability, very useful in the clan battles or even arenas. Also, she is the only tank available in the gacha before 2022, so definitely a good choice of summon, one of the must-haves in the beginning of the game. The only problem with her is she doesn't have taunt ability. Overall, she is the number 4 character that I would like to have in the first half of 2021. Now let's move on to the second character, Ling the Squirrel, a 2-star midline support. Her first skill is a boost of all allies' magical defense within her range. The second skill is to stun a target. Her EX is to boost her magical defense at the beginning of the battle. The UB is a small amount of heal, and large physical attack and magical defense for all allies. I wouldn't say she's an essential character. Her only merit is the boost of magical defense. After all, she's only a 2-star character, which means it's highly likely that she will just pop up when you're trying to summon someone else. Also, her memory shards are available in the Dungeon Coins shop, so she is not difficult to get after all. Okay, so the next one is Alisa, a 3-star backline damage dealer. Her first skill is to deal physical damage and reduce speed on the enemy with highest magical damage. The second skill is the recovery of her TP, and if she uses this skill after UB, there will be extra recovery of TP. Her UB deals physical damage on the enemy in front of her. If it's already been used once, the damage will also be increased. She's a very good damage dealer at the back line at the beginning of the game. Her position is the front of the back line, which means if you team her up with Sauron, her TP will be increased very quickly because one of Sauron's abilities is to recover the TP of the closest ally. In Arena, a team with Alisa and Tamaki is what you need to counter enemies with magical dealer at the back. But I wouldn't suggest you to spend jewels on her right now because she's available in all the gachas, which means she will also pop up one day eventually. So probably don't waste your jewels on her unless you really like her. The next one, Ayane, is a 2-star frontline damage dealer. Her first skill is to deal physical damage and stun the first target. And the second skill is to deal physical damage and armor reduction on all enemies in range. Her UB deals damage and knock back the enemy in front of her. Overall, her performance is not really good, even when being unlocked for 6 stars, it's still pretty average. So I won't recommend spending jewels on her because she's not limited character, so you will get her one day during the gacha and her memory shards available in the dungeon coins shop as well. Next one, Kyoka is a 3-star backline magical dealer. First skill is to deal magical damage on an enemy in front of her. Second skill is to boost her magical damage. Her UB deals magical damage on the enemy in front of her. She has a very high magical damage at the beginning of the game. In Arena, if you are looking for someone to kill enemy tanks such as Miyako, she is the one to get the work done. I will put her on the third character I want in the first half of 2021. Misato, a 2-star backline healer. Her first skill is to boost allies' magical damage around her. Second skill is to provide a heal over time on the first ally at the front. Her UB heals and boosts magical defense on all allies. She is very useful healer at the beginning of the game, but still I wouldn't suggest spending jewels on her because she will be available in all the gachas, so there's plenty of chances to get her. Ilia is a 3-star midline magical damage dealer. Her first skill is to use her own HP to boost her magical damage and deal magical damage on the enemy in front of her. Her second skill is to use her own HP to deal magical damage on all enemies in her range. Her UB deals magical damage on all enemies in range and recover her own HP. Her TP recharges pretty fast when she spells which deals damage on herself. However, please be aware that her self damage is pretty high, so you must be extra careful here to keep her alive. Overall, she'll be pretty powerful in PvP if you can make sure that she survives and will be able to use her UB. She is the second most wanted characters of mine in the first half of 2021. Tsumaki is a 2-star frontline damage dealer. Her first skill deals physical damage on the second place enemy and will pull an enemy closer to her. The second skill deals physical damage and will reduce speed on all enemies in range. Her UB deals physical damage and stun on all enemies in range and also pulls all enemies closer. She doesn't have high damage and her TP also charges very slowly, but her UB can pull the enemy team closer, which will be very good to combine with characters with AoE skills such as Monica and Reno in order to make sure the AoE can hit the whole enemy team. But still, I don't recommend spending jewels on her because again, she's available in almost all gachas, so it will only be a matter of time for you to summon her. After the availabilities of these characters, it will be the summer festival. In this gacha, there are 4 characters that are limited characters for this summer festival only. So please take your chance here because if you miss this gacha, you will have to wait for another summer festival. And I actually missed all of them before and I couldn't find any players still using them, so I won't be able to show you a battle video with these characters in it, unfortunately. Pickering is 3-star frontline damage dealer. Her first skill is to boost her physical damage, but with reducing her own magical defense as sacrifice. Her second skill deals physical damage on all enemies in range, while also knocks back the first target in front of her. Her UB deals physical damage on all enemies in range. As a damage dealer, she has a very high HP. Her AoE range can cover all the enemies up until the mid line, which means if Ilya is on the enemy team, there's a very big chance she will be able to tackle her. Suzume is a 3-star backline support. Her first skill is to summon a golem to attack the enemy in front of her, but the downside with this skill is the enemy's TP will be charged faster because there's an easier target to kill for the enemy side. Her second skill is to boost allies around the first position's magical defense. Her UB is to boost all allies' physical and magical defense while also provides a heal overtime buff. She can only heal from her UB. Kyalu is a 3-star backline magical damage dealer. Her first skill deals damage on the enemy in front of her. Her second skill deals the enemy in front of her with magical damage, while also reduces magical defense of the enemy. Her UB also deals magical damage on enemy in front of her. She is one of the must-have characters in the first half year of Gacha. There are not many characters that have magical defense reduction ability in this game. You may find that sometimes you even need 2 characters with this ability in the clan battles. She's the number 1 character I want in the first half of 2021. Tamaki, a 3-star frontline damage dealer. Her first skill is to reduce an enemy's TP and recover her own TP. The second skill is to boost physical damage and speed for herself. Her UB deals physical damage on random enemy at the front line for 4 times. The only reason that you might need her is for her TP stealing skill. In some boss fight, you will need to slow down the boss before using its UB, and she will be very useful at times like these. Okay, now that is the releasing schedule of the first half of 2021 and the ratings of these characters. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you have seen on this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. If there's anything else you would like to know about this game, please leave a comment. I will try to talk about them in the future videos. Bye bye!